There's the moon. It's down to almost half, and it's on its path to setting, but the sun is about to shine. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I was very touched by the replies yesterday to a request for prayer in a rather dramatically sad circumstance, and so many replied. I didn't reply. I just actually saw the comments right now. I don't get around to seeing all the comments, unfortunately, every day, but I appreciate very much how this little community is knitted together and offering moments of consolation in tragedy and suffering to each other, and especially prayer, being present to each other. That's very beautiful. We all meet times that are hard, and when others are near and close and praying, there comes the sun. When others are close and praying, that's very supportive, very beautiful. And that's nice, people from all over the world taking these prayer intentions into their hearts. It's very beautiful. And then just a couple of little technicals. Yesterday, I talked with my sister Celine. She sends regards to everybody, obviously. And she told me that a lady contacted her, and her number was there, so she just Googled the number. She found out that it was from the Philippines. And the lady proceeded to tell her that I had recommended that she talk to Celine about a financial transaction. And of course, Celine's antenna went out 100% on alert. And the lady was offering investment opportunities, like straight away. So it's interesting how people track down our information, our emails, and our telephone numbers, and with the linkage between Facebook and WhatsApp, this has become easier. So please, I never recommend I've never in my whole life, not even once, recommended any financial investment to anybody, because that's not my life. Maybe at the most 50 years ago, I'd say to my dad, we should buy some calves, or we could sell these cattle now. But I've never done that. So if anybody comes to you telling you that I recommended them for a financial transaction, you can thank them very much for their kind services, but you can be definitely sure that I didn't do that. So just be smart. It's probably the same, I imagine, when people started using a postal system 150 years ago, 200 years ago, whenever it started. There was a famous post office in Jerusalem, in fact, run by the Austrian Empire. And it's still there inside the Jaffa Gate. And some of the remnants of the Austrian Empire's emblems are still there. And it's now the Christian Information Center run by the Franciscans, providing a lot of wonderful service for pilgrims and all of us working in the Holy Land. And so I imagine when the postal system started first, people were worried about sending their letter and letting it out of their hands and trusting people to take it to somebody in another country. But the possibility for the post to be abused or raided is always still there, even now. Most of the packages I get here have been opened and closed again, obviously under the rubric of security. And somehow we accept that. And obviously we need to be also sensitive and careful. For that reason, then registered mail developed. If people were sending money or valuables in the post, just to make sure that their post was protected. So in the same way with all this open communication systems we have, there's a huge element of trust, and there's also exposure to abuse always. We don't need to be scared by it, just need to be prudent. And if you notice any strange behavior, sometimes, occasionally, but not too much, thanks be to God, occasionally over the last year and a half doing these morning strolling chats, some people have put in bad things and have just tried to avail of the network for their own purposes. So here we are. We just got in behind it. So that's just a practical thing to be on the alert and watch out. And that's also with your own family, with your own friends, and I imagine all the businesses are also careful. You have viruses, some people plant viruses in semi-open systems in order to cause damage. It's amazing how the human spirit creates new things and other people create abusive manipulations that hurt. Aha. There we had a little bee briefly. So now you know this walk. The readings are of great encouragement. The Lord will build up Jerusalem again. It's amazing, the prophet Zechariah, we were talking about 2,400 years ago. And this phrase is always applicable. The Lord will build up Jerusalem again. And that's true of the church. It's true of our own lives. Look at even the lake here, you know. Earlier on I showed you a shot. All that stone was covered in water before, so the lake withdrew. They're pumping out water as well. They're letting it run before the winter rains. So it's going down the last 6 weeks pretty significantly. But then we'll have, God willing, good winter rains. It'll fill up again. And so our societies go through an ebb and a flow. And they go through cycles of energetic building, and then other moments of decay, decadence, depletion. And the Lord will build up Zion again, will build up Jerusalem again. This is a prayer. It's also in our own lives, our own spiritual lives. We have moments when we're more fervent, more generous. And we're building up to live with hope. Hard times come, difficult times. I'm just thinking of that mother who lost her baby, just newborn. All the expectation, and already hit by bereavement in her family. And we thank Eileen for posting that comment, and then so many for responding, replying, praying. The Lord will build up Jerusalem again. Well, there's a huge bumblebee here, but it's moving around dancing too fast. Huge movements here, 5 or 6 meters in a fraction of a second. There's no way I can catch him on camera. And the gospel themes repeat yesterday's. It's interesting. Yesterday we were reading the Sunday cycle of readings in Mark chapter 9. And today we're in the weekday cycle of readings, and it happens to be Luke chapter 9. And they're very similar themes. By the way, for those who wanted, I did put up the link for Scandal on yesterday's post here at Sunrise Stroll and Chat, and also on the Instagram. So I encourage you to read that, because it's very substantial stuff. But the issue that's repeated today especially is John, this great apostle John. But he's really nervous about other people doing good that aren't in their group. And Jesus sets him straight, and he says, don't worry, let people do good. Rejoice that they're doing good. This is what we're here for. Let's reinforce everybody who's doing good. And sometimes in our own faith communities, there's a lethargy. And other people do good and become more active, more militant in doing good. That's a great call to our conscience. And there's no room for jealousy or envy or controlled syndromes. Sow as many seeds as we can all our life. Look around you in your home, in your neighborhood. Who needs a word of encouragement and strengthening? And we have lots of tools. We have a great proximity to each other through these means. We can reach out and help somebody. I think it was yesterday or the day before, somebody sent me, it must have been yesterday, an email with a question or a WhatsApp, and they had received a handwritten greeting that they didn't understand, as they didn't understand the language in which it was written. I think it's English or in Spanish, and were asking me to translate it, and I was impressed that somebody had written a handwritten note for the season's greetings. It's not so common nowadays, but it's a beautiful gesture. So many ways to be present, to encourage. Thank you for joining us this morning out here in this beautiful place. Oi, oi, oi. Come on. I was almost turned off and I put you through this loop. Sorry about that. God bless you. See you later, alligators.